No, not really, but you got the right idea. Let me show you more what it's like. It's like a balloon. Okay, and if I blow this balloon up, you're going to see a type of solenorate that you've probably seen before. What does that look like if you saw that floating on the surface of the ocean?
Jellyfish.
A jellyfish, and a jellyfish is one of our solenorates. Hollow body cavity up here. And more important, there's only one opening to that hollow body cavity, isn't there? The air can only go in that way, and the only place the air can come out is the same place, right? Well, same thing with the solenorates. They only have one opening, and we're not going to call it a mouth, because guess what? Whatever it eats, when it gets done with it, it's got to come back out the same hole. But you see, jellyfish, they don't have tongues, they can't really taste, so they don't mind. But this is a step up from the sponges, because they can digest their food. They have a place to digest it. You see how that's being more complex than that every man for himself, every cell for themselves type of thing? All right? So that's exactly how we're going to see all the solenorates. With a hollow body cavity, and I'm going to put over here, and one opening. Because after a while, we're going to see other animals that are more advanced that have two openings, both a mouth and anus. And it might sound ridiculous, but if you're an animal that has both a mouth and anus, you're cool. You're more complex, because now you got one place for it to go in and one place for it to go out, unlike the solenorates. Caleb?
Yeah, one hole that things go in and
No,
out.
you're thinking of another one of our phylums of animals, and I don't want to confuse you, but you'll see that when we get into them. Okay, let's try and talk about some more characteristics of these guys that we find in the phylum Solenorate. We say a hollow body cavity. What else in your reading did you find out that all these solenorates have? What are they characterized as having? Stingers. Tentacles. Good. What are those stingers called? Ricky, do you remember? Parker? Nematocysts. Good. So let's write this down in our notes. Characterized by having tentacles that contain stinging cells called nematocysts. What do you think it's going to use stinging cells for? Anybody? Hands? Ashley? To kill its prey. Good. Or at least stun its prey. Because as we're going to see, the poison that these solenorates use simply paralyzes its victim. And we all know paralyzed means you can't move, right? Okay, so they're called nematocysts. Let's take a look at some nematocysts first. And I'm going to draw a tentacle. But of course what I'm drawing is a very, very large tentacle, because if you ever ran into a selenorate that had a tentacle this large, you'd feel like you were on 20,000 leagues beneath the sea. This would be actually about the diameter of a spaghetti noodle. But what we find is we find that in these tentacles they have these nematocysts. What did we learn that cyst means in our Latin word roots? Latoria? I heard Tanika say it. Pouch. Thanks, Caleb. So it is. It's sort of like a pouch right here inside of the tentacle. And you know what we're going to find inside this pouch? A spear. It's actually a spear. It's got barbs on it, like the ones the Kulamungo warriors use, right? But it's very much smaller than that. Actually, it's so small you wouldn't be able to see it with your naked eye. But I'm drawing it big so you can see it. And it's actually got little barbs on it to stick into its prey. And guess what? It's spring-loaded. It's sitting there all cocked and ready to go. And we're going to call this nematocyst here. First, let's label it. And we're going to say that this one here is loaded, just like you would load a gun, ready to go. Now, if a fish or a shrimp or just about anything edible to a jellyfish or a hydra or a coral, as we'll investigate in a minute, comes along and rubs into this tentacle, this nematocyst is going to fire. course, this is what it would do if you accidentally rubbed up against it. And once it fires,